So today's topic for webinar is redefining agility with Kanban, and I'm not going to ask you this question, what do you mean by agile? Because today what we are going to discuss is how transformations work. What has actually changed in the past 4 to 5 years that the previous models that we use for agility has stopped working. So earlier when we looked at transformations, we looked at resource efficiency. How can you make your team productive? How can you increase your velocity, your performance, so that your organization can achieve this competitive power to address the competition and survival in the market? That was what used to be earlier. But the era of that transformations has passed away. The new era of transformation requires you to change your business processes. Because we have a dynamic marketing environment, dynamic competitive environment. We have innovations coming up in terms of the technology, AI, ML, robotics. People are shifting to automations, automated CI/CD, automated merge, automated testings, AI testing. So we need to change our business processes. The previous approach for agility of increasing the efficiency may not work here. Now we are connected teams. We are connected products. Not one company is not delivering one product. They are connecting with the multiple vendors. They are creating a value chain that can be more effective, more productive. They are reaching out to the specialists to create the connected products and connected teams. So your standalone agile models will fail here. We are shifting our business models to service-driven business models. Now, what is service-driven? We'll look at the service-driven business models, its characteristics in a few slides from now. But before I go there, according to Osterwalder, which is said in 2005, the business model is a description of the value a company offers to their customers. So what is that value that you offer to your customers? It's not the increase in efficiency of your development team. It's something that the customer gets. And how the company generates profit, how they can sustain the revenue streams. This is all can be achieved through service delivery business models, not the old era business models. So today, you have to think value. So what Osterwalder means is that you have to think value. What service you are providing to your customers? Why should they do business with you? What are you delivering to them? Is it usable? When? When are you delivering to them? Is it beneficial to them when you deliver to them? So we have to look from the perspective of how we deliver value to our customers, how we service to our customers. And we have to move away from creating the stories and the tasks in any of the tools. How many stories did you complete in the last iteration is not what you have to look at. What you have to look at is, when can I deliver that value to the customer? And when I deliver that value, will it still be beneficial for the customer? That is a perspective, that is a mindset that you have to bring in when you think agility. Which means there are 4 building blocks of creating a business model. Now, all the business analysts, product owners will know of it. People who are not business analysts or owners, so it's a very simple process. There are 4 building blocks. First, you have to find what is that customer value proposition. to fulfill that important job that the customer is looking for. Who are the key people involved, which is the second dimension in blue color? Who are the key people involved? What are the various techniques that you want to use for this value proposition? Third is in green, which is how will you make profit? Unless you make profit, you can't give the salary to the people who are creating value for the customer. How can you create a sustainable environment? How can you create an environment that your brain stays within the organization? So that is the third aspect. What is the profit formula? And what are the key processes need to deliver this value that you defined in the orange portion by the people whom you define in the blue portion? What are those key processes? So these are the 4 building blocks of business model. And when you think agility, you think value to the customer. When you think value to the customer, you have to look at all these 4 building blocks, not the stories and the tasks. These 4 building blocks. And when we apply a Kanban lens over these, this is how Kanban helps you. Orange portion, customer value. Kanban will help you determine your fit for purpose. Why do you exist? What are the demands of your customer? You do a demand analysis when you create a Kanban system design. What are different types of work that you have to do? What are their expectations? You have to determine the service level expectations or the lead time that the customer wants you to deliver that value in. When you apply the Kanban lens to the key people, the blue section, what is the current capability that you have? What are the dependencies that you have with other people? Kanban will help you visualize those. Isolate them, measure them, so that you can deliver as per the expectations. Kanban helps you determine what are the bottlenecks, where is the work aging and eating up your profits. The key processes, the purple one. What is end-to-end flow of the work? What is that invisible work where you are spending more time but is still not visible on the board? What is the done state? Is it when you completed the development? Is it when you completed the testing? Is it when you completed the DevOps? Or is it when the customer got it? So Kanban will help you to map all these downstream processes with these 4 building blocks of the business model. Let's see how. Now, according to Portal and Happelman, they did a research in 2015. They said that there is already a shift. There's a shift from the product-based to service-centric business models. And it has emerged. So whatever you are doing to the customer is a service to the customer. Your team needs to understand what service they provide to the customer, not to the development team, not to the QA team, not to the DevOps team, not to the PO, not even to the Scrum Master or the RTE. What is that service that you're providing to your customers? Now, this shift focuses the companies to do these 5 things. Again, these are the same as the 4 building blocks of the business model. What I mean to say is that you have to think from the customer perspective, not from the board perspective, from the work perspective. You have to think from the customer perspective. Then only you will be able to bring agility. And Kanban helps you do that. So if we look at these shifts, number 1 is you have to differentiate the value chain alignment. What are the various steps to deliver the value to the customer? Can you do the value stream mapping of the end-to-end flow from the customer needs arise to the customer needs met? What are the various handoffs that happen during this process? What are the various departments that are involved during this process? How can you define that value chain? The second shift is, can you create a to set the new strategic decisions to cope with the competition in the market? How can you differentiate yourself or your business processes from the competitors? I think there's some disturbance. Let me just, yeah. So second aspect is, what is that? How can you cope up with the competition? What is it that you can do extra, or what is it that you can differently, that you can deliver faster or deliver better? Is it that you implemented some of the tools? Is it that you implemented AI so that you can deliver faster, or the tools can catch the errors better? What is it that you have implemented? The third would be to redefine the organizational structure. What is the best team that can deliver it? Is it a cross functional team? Is it a team of 10 people? Is it a team of 20 people? So you have to come out of the foundations of that 3 to 9 team members. What are the processes that you want to improve? But before you can improve those processes, you have to visualize those processes. And what are your application success factors? So this shift from the product-centric to the service-centric models forces the companies to determine all these 5 things. And to really be agile, you have to look at all these 5 things. How you do the work in an iteration, or how do you deliver in a monthly planning, after a monthly planning meeting, is only the 4th part. Improve the processes to deliver. If you're not thinking the remaining 4 parts, then you are not agile. You are only working in iterations. Kanban help you to determine that flow of work. How? So Kanban has its change management principles. It will help you to understand where you are right now, how you are doing the work right now, what are your current roles and responsibilities, what is it that you can change so that you can avoid much resistance in the system. So you visualize the flow of the work. You identify what are the improvement areas. Not only you, your team identifies what are the improvement areas and where they can apply their own leadership skills to understand what they need to change. Slowly and slowly, you bring an incremental change, looking at all these 5 factors. Does it align with the value chain alignment? Does it give us a strategic advantage than our competitors? Does it align to our new team structure? Is it a better process to deliver? Does it align with the application success factors or not? So all these changes align to those 5 focusing steps. You evaluate the change, you move forward, you evaluate the change, you move forward, and you get enough chances to evaluate the change and move forward. And slowly, you bring in evolutionary change. So Kanban change management principles aligns with these 5 focusing steps or 5 shifts that you need to do to deliver value to your customers, and which is agile in this new era. Now, this service-centric business model has 4 key components. The first component is value proposition, value creation, value delivery, and the value capture. Kanban helps you think from this 4 values perspective, 4 components perspective also. So Kanban has service delivery principles that help you create service-centric business models. Focusing upon these 4 components, which is value proposition, value creation, value delivery, value capture, so that you can start your agility from the organizational strategic point of view, not only in the teams, but from the business perspective as well, so that you can deliver your business outcomes which are agile. not the work of the individual team members. And how do you do that? You apply the Kanban service delivery principles. And these service delivery principles completely align with the service-centric business models. How? The first service delivery principle of Kanban is focus on customer, which is the value proposition. What is that value that you are providing to your customer? What does that customer wants? Understand and focus on your customer needs and expectations. This is a customer who is using your product, your service, who's by selling whom you are generating the revenue and you are capturing the value. So what is that value proposition you provide to your customers? That is your first delivery principle. Manage the work, let the people self-organize around it. You create the value and you deliver the value. So the second service delivery principles aligns with value creation and delivery, as well as the third, which is you have to evolve policies to improve your customer and business outcomes. What are the various teams which are involved in creating that value? You create a feedback cycle between all these teams, all these departments, so that you can improve your customer and business outcomes. Make it faster, make it better, make it more of high quality. These policies determine what are the characteristics of your service delivery system that aligns with these 5 focus areas and considers all these key components of the service-centric business model. You evolve policies so that your customer satisfaction improves as well as your business outcome improve, so that you capture the value you thought you will capture. What is value capture? The profit that you make. So Kanban service delivery principles completely aligns with this service-oriented business models. The 4 components of this service delivery business model, which is value proposition, value creation, delivery, and value capture. Now let's go to the little bit more detail or depth. How does they align? Kanban helps you to focus on customer value proposition. How? Now Kanban has 6 general practices. First is visualization. Second is limiting the WIP. Third, managing the flow. Fourth, making policies explicit. Fifth, defining your classes of services and the feedback loops. And the last one, you continuously improve. You optimize your flow of the work. Visualization is one of the general practices. How can you propose value to the customer? You have to visualize. How will you do that work? What are the various workflow stages when you create value? The flow does not end in silos because your iteration is finished. The flow continues till you have delivered that value to the customer. Kanban is a flow-based method. It starts from what the customer wanted up till the needs met, from customer needs to needs met, and you visualize all of it. This will help you discover the invisible work where you might be spending more time, where the work might be stalled. This will help you discover the dependencies within the teams, within the organization, or there could be a third-party dependency. It will help you categorize the work into the classes of services, and so that you can set the right expectations with your customer. It will also help you discover the blockers in the value that you are proposing to your customers, so that you are prepared, your customers are prepared in advance on what blockers can come in providing that value to that customer. So Kanban general practice, the visualization can help you understand what value you're proposing to the customer, what are the bottlenecks, what are the dependencies, what are the workflow stages, where the work can age, where the work can be queued up. All of this can be identified using just one practice, which is visualization. And how will you do the visualization? We'll discover in a few slides. The third general practice of Kanban is managing the flow. When you apply this general practice of Kanban, it will help you understand what is the lead time, what is the cycle time to deliver end-to-end value to the customer. It is not always 2 weeks. It is not always 3 weeks or 4 weeks. The work that you might be delivering in 2 weeks or 3 weeks could be delivered to a siloed team, not to your customer. Find out what is the right lead time when the work is started and when the work finished and reached, and the customer was able to use it, benefit from it. That is your lead time, time to market. That is what matters. Your velocity doesn't matter. How many stories did you finish doesn't matter. What matters most right now to be agile is when is the customer getting that value. Lead time is one matrix that will help you determine that. Kanban follows this matrix. When you apply this general practice of managing the flow, you will be able to understand where the queue is, where the work is aging, so that you can create those improvement areas to shorten the queue, to find out how you can, what policies you should apply so that the work should not rot in that queue and should not age more. It will also help you to determine what is the time spent in meeting the dependencies with your internal team, external team, third-party vendors, so that you can set the right service level agreements with those dependent teams. You can know and set the right expectations with your customer that this value that I'm going to provide you will have 10 dependencies, and because of which this will get delivered on XX date. Rather than feeling sorry in every iteration that we couldn't do it because our dependent teams couldn't deliver that value to you. It will help you to understand what is the time that you take to resolve the blockers. What is your failure demand? How much rework do you generate? And this becomes your self-assessment, self-awareness, self-improvement. Can we reduce that rework? All in all, it will help you to set up the service level expectations. Now, setting the service level expectations and how to set it up is going to be our topic for the next webinar, where I'll talk about the lead time distribution chart, how to set up those SLEs, service level expectations, how to measure how much you achieved, how to measure the variance in those. Managing the flow, this general practice can also help you to understand what is the capacity of the team, how much can you deliver, without worrying about the variations of the sick leaves or the planned leaves. Because lead time is not one single number, it's a distribution curve. It will help you determine the percentiles. It is not one number. You will feel more comfortable because you will have that risk factored into the expectations or the commitment that you provide to your customers. Managing the flow general practice will help you control the variations in your process design. You will be able to identify what are the common cause variations, what are the special cause variations. For common cause variations, you will be able to change your process design. For special cause variations, you will be able to create your risk mitigation plan. Kanban will help you manage this work so you can define the right expectations with your customers. You can define when the work will be available to them, which is agility. Not breaking promises, but meeting those promises so that it still is valuable to your customer. It all starts with following the right approach to create your Kanban system design. And then you improve it continuously. And how do you create a Kanban system design? You follow a static approach. What is static? It's systems thinking approach to design the Kanban system. So we started from the business model. We started for what value you are providing, the 5 focusing steps, the 4 key components, and then you design this Kanban system so that you can achieve that value using the static approach. Now, what is it? It will help you to look at all the system constituents needed to create that value for the customer, the dependent parties, the dependent teams, the third-party vendors, the approvals, legal, photographs, performance, load balancing, everything. So understand what are the steps in creating a static approach. You have to understand what should be improved or changed in that value proposition. And here you will apply your Kanban change management principles as well as your service delivery principles. And then you will identify what all work is required to create that value, to meet that customer demand. Then you identify what is the capability, what are the expectations that you can set with your customers. Then what are the stages through which the work passes to create that value. And then what are the classes of services? What should be done earlier than the other? What should be done later than the other? You'll define all of this in that static approach. And you start with, are your services fit for purpose? And it is not a copy-paste approach. Everyone doesn't follow the same formula here. It is not just implement 4 meetings, 4 artifacts and 3 roles. It is not copy and paste. It depends on team to team, organization to organization, customer to customer, value to value, workflow to workflow. And that is what agility is. It is not a blueprint. All the companies or the teams can't fit into that framework, into that frame. You have to think customer. How can you make your service fit for customer? How can you deliver faster, still deliver value to the customer? And that is where Kanban helps. If you apply this static approach, it will help you define that value for the customer and how will you create that value. And then you design the Kanban system. So Kanban helps you visualize the end-to-end flow to deliver value for the customer and set expectations based on what is your current capability. And then you continuously improve it. It is not always, so in a complex systems, like in this era, where you have multiple vendors, multiple teams, connected products, a very simple model of 3 to 9 team members doesn't work. Here you need a scaled model, which can have a wholesome view of how you are delivering value to the customer. So this is another way of implementing a static approach. So you look at the value proposition and then the value creation delivery. In value proposition, you will look at what is the purpose. You review the purpose of the existence to the team. What all services does the team provide to the customer? Then you model the workflow. You map the flow of the work. What are the dependent teams? You map them. You bring them into the discussion. You isolate the wait time. You isolate the work time. And then you improve. You isolate the blockers. You do the demand analysis. What are different types of work then the customer provides us? What is the volume and the pattern of the demand? How frequent it is? And what are the client expectations around it? And based on that, you do the current capability analysis and find out, do you need upskilling? Do you need any more team members? Do you need to find out connected teams? Do you need to find out off-the-shelf connected products? So that you can deliver value to the customer. You can create that value. You lean your practices, your processes. What is the proposed solution? What is the process improvements? How can you remove the variations? How can you remove the waste? How can you remove the bottlenecks in the system? Is automation the right tool? Where is that bottleneck? Do we enhance the team over there? Or should we change our processes? You design the Kanban board. You design the Kanban card. You design the ceremonies based on the maturity of the team in the organizations. It's not always 4. It can be 5 or 6 also. You scale. You identify what are the roles and responsibilities are needed to deliver that value. Do you need a Scrum Master? Hire him or her. Do you need a RT? Do you need a PM? Do you need a coach? Who all do you need? Hire them. But first of all, design what value, how will you going to deliver the value? What are the various types of demand? And then you define the rules. What are the prioritizations rules? What are the class of services? What is the client agreement? What are the explicit policies, exit criteria? What is the definition of done, definition of ready? So Kanban gives you a tool, an approach, which is called as a static approach, systems thinking approach to introducing Kanban that help you understand the entire system from a system perspective. And this system delivers that value to the customer. Iterations is only a small part of it. Scaling is inbuilt in Kanban. So what is agility? Providing the right thing to the customer, which is the value proposition, at the right time, not faster, not in loops, so that they can benefit from it. So you are creating a value and delivering it. And that also aligns with your business and organizational strategic goals, which is value capture, so that you can have a profitable business. You can take pride in what you do. You have a sustainable model. You get the salary on time and the increments on time. There are no more attritions. So agility is the right thing, providing the right thing to the customer at the right time. Right thing is the complete end-to-end value. Now you can develop an MVP also. That depends upon whether the customer wants it. Does they generate that value out of it or not? You are free to create a release roadmap. But your first release should provide some value to the customer. They should be able to benefit from it. So that your team, your organization can also do some value capture. So it doesn't end at delivering the increment to the customer. It also, there is a feedback loop there. What is that profit that your company made so that you can deliver the value again? You can't work in losses. That is the complete definition of agility. And scaling, Kanban is inbuilt. You have to be flexible to create that value. You have to be flexible to scale Kanban. Apply static to every team. Create a portfolio Kanban. Create multiple Kanban boards in your organizations based on the needs of the organizations. You can have multiple team Kanban boards. You have multiple leadership Kanban boards. It's just scaling Kanban is not a very heavy framework. To scale Kanban, you implement Kanban. You implement Kanban into multiple teams. Kanban is a signaling method. You have to visualize what all happens. You have to manage the flow. Rethink agility with Kanban. Think business value. Think value proposition. Think value delivery. Come out of the stories and the tasks. Come out of how many stories did you complete in this particular week. Consider how you delivered the value. How are you going to deliver that value to the customer? Redefine agility with Kanban. It is not how many stories you completed. It is What is the lead time? What is the time to market to deliver that value? Redefine your matrix, make them actionable. Find out the time that you take to resolve a blocker. Reduce the rework, improve your processes. And don't forget to apply the Kanban practices. There are 6 general practices of Kanban. Visualize, work in progress, manage the work, manage the flow, make policies explicit, implement the feedback loops, and continuously improve. And you can learn all these Kanban practices in the 4-day KMP workshop in case you have not attended that. There is an in-person workshop happening in Dubai on November 20th, 21st, 27th, 28th. Feel free to join. You can go to kanbandubai.com or you can call this number, which is +971 54 6151. If you're looking for online workshops, you can go to easylearningtree.com, who was our training partners, or you can call 91648 32661. To summarize, this is the contact information where you can get more knowledge around the KMP. You can attend KMP if you have not done it. If you have attended one part of the KMP, you can attend the second part of the KMP. Just contact us on this particular numbers. Or you can ping me over the LinkedIn. Any questions that you have?